There we go. Audio is now live. All right, so welcome everybody to another Eaton Tech Talk and an IEEE, not electrical safety workshop, but PCIC.
Petroleum and Chemical Industry Conference.
So Nehad spilled the beans. What's PCIC stand for?
It's a Petroleum and Chemical Industry Conference.
Petroleum and chemical. So we're talking oil and gas.
Oil and gas.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Petrochem.
Petrochem.
Or else. We have some mining too. There's the mining committee is meeting here as well. So
That's
it's
right.
not in the name, but there's a mining committee.
That's right. So, and IEEE, Institute for Electrical Electronics Engineers, you don't need to be an engineer to be a member of IEEE.
Nope.
And
Anyone can be a member.
anybody can be a member. So Nehad and I are here. This is an annual event where all of these large organizations, I would say, they're in many cases large petrochem, but there are multiple different individuals from across the globe. This is an international type of a thing.
There are consultants, there are construction companies,
Manufacturers.
end users.
Yep.
A couple professors from universities.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Dr. Lee is here.
Wei Jin Lee.
Wei Jin Lee,
There are a
and
couple more I've met. Yeah, so it's a very diverse
group.
And I don't know if you guys will recall that a year ago from today, Tom and I went live every night
That's right.
from Denver, where the conference was.
That's right.
This year we are in New Orleans.
And we're going to do the same thing. So today, we were here yesterday. We could have gone live yesterday, but I got to carry my tripod. I got to remember my tripod. Yeah. And then we went to dinner, and then we went down to Bourbon Street because you can't come to New Orleans without going to Bourbon Street.
We're not going to talk about this.
We're not going to talk about Bourbon Street.
Bourbon Street stays
on Bourbon Street.
We may go back tonight, but it stays there. We're not talking about this.
That's right.
And if Mom is watching, I've never been there.
Yes,
Mom is just making this up.
Yeah, we're just making it up.
I wasn't there.
Yeah. He was a good boy.
Hi, Mom.
I love it. So, but yesterday there were some good committee meetings. So one of the things that we want to do is help you understand what occurs here at IEEE PCIC, and we do the same thing for the electrical safety workshop, right? Because if you're at home and you're not here, and you're either an electrical engineer, electrician, electrical contractor involved with electrical safety, it doesn't matter that we focus on that. It doesn't matter that this is a petrochem and mining, because like you said, mining is technology is here, but it doesn't matter that that's the focus of the event, because many of the papers and discussions will be around general electrical safety.
There's a safety track, and safety track applies to everything.
That's right.
It's not just petroleum and chemical industry, right? There is I can't remember which track, but there are different presentations on motors and drives. And
exactly.
Everybody uses motors and drives. Doesn't matter if you're petrochem, pulp and paper.
Absolutely.
Right? There are, I guess, a few papers on, I think it was something on protection, like using Rogowski coils and things that you can use anywhere. Right. Again, it's not related to an industry. Yes, this is the Petroleum and Chemical Industry Conference, but there's a lot of common knowledge that you can take back to your workplace that doesn't have to be related to petrochem.
Power systems engineering is power systems engineering, period.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now what I'll do is I'll show you now when you register, there is this application that you can put on your phone and on your iPad. I have it on my iPad right now, and it's called Event Mobi. And what Event Mobi does is it gives you the agenda. You can click items and say, I want to attend this, and it gives you your calendar so you know where you need to be at any given time. So what we'll do is, I notice it starts on the 7th. So let's do this. I'm going to
so the 7th, they have the API, American Petroleum Institute standards meetings. So it's not IEEE, but they meet at the same time, because the petrochem IEEE people are also involved with the API standards.
So what does API stand for?
American Petroleum Institute.
American Petroleum Institute. Yeah, so there were two meetings at 8 a.m. One was API RP 505 area classification standards, and then the other, I guess they're both going on at the same time. Looks like you had standard 541 form wound squirrel cage induction motors, 375 kilowatt, 500 horsepower and larger. So I mean, if you're dealing in any industry and you apply 500 horsepower motors, I would say the knowledge that you get at that type of event would be
relevant. Yeah.
would be relevant. Now on the 8th, again API, they had 505 area classifications starting at 8 a.m. General purpose form wound. Did I say wound? Wounds, form wound, squirrel cage induction motors. I don't know what was the previous one? Form wound. I bet you I said wound. I don't know. Anyway, squirrel cage induction motors, he had 250 horsepower through 3,000 horsepower.
Yeah,
Could you imagine a
motor.
3,000 horsepower motor?
Yeah,
That's a big one.
It's a beast.
In West Virginia, we call them biggins.
Biggins.
Yep. And then you have the SOE Subcommittee on Electrical Equipment. So that was what day? That was September 8th.
Friday.
That was Friday. And Friday, I was flying back from Costa Rica. And that was a long day.
Yeah, I flew from Saskatoon to here. It wasn't that bad.
Usually he exceeds the number of legs that he has to, he always does, right? So it's either he's coming from Egypt or you're coming from Saskatoon.
Yeah,
right?
Saskatoon, I don't get direct connections, so I have to fly oftentimes 3 connections. So Saskatoon, Toronto, Vancouver,
Right.
and then from Toronto, Vancouver, somewhere in the US, and then my final destination. This time I got lucky. It was Saskatoon, Toronto, New Orleans.
And I was Costa Rica to Dallas, Dallas to Pittsburgh, got off in Pittsburgh, got back on a plane from Pittsburgh to Charlotte to here. So that was
How much time? By the way, Tom lives in Pittsburgh. He didn't get
yeah, I was at
chance to
home.
go home.
I had about an hour. That's about it.
Oh
yeah,
man,
I got to talk to Bobby Joe.
That? This is amazing.
I got to talk to Bobby Joe on the phone. That's all.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So on now that was Friday. So Friday were those two. Now this is Saturday. This is yesterday.
Saturday.
So yesterday was now in the past I would sometimes come for these meetings that we're going to talk about here. And then I would go home because we had a lot of eating people here, et cetera. And I had usually this is on top of IAEI section meetings.
You always had, yes.
And I've got, I present at sometimes, or I used to present heavily at the IAEI section meetings, and then this would meet, but these committee meetings, or these are standards that we're working on, are typically Saturday and Sunday, right? So the first one was 1814. This was, I call it safety by design, but the official title of 1814 is the Electrical System Design Techniques to Improve Electrical Safety. And that was...
And this committee has the best secretary in IEEE.
They've got the best secretary.
The best secretary in IEEE. And I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I think it's Thomas
Dmitrovich, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's a Croatian.
Never met the guy, but they said he's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
I don't know if I can trust him or not.
He's absolutely. I would trust him.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. So I had, and that was one of the reasons why I had to make sure I was here, because I'm the secretary for that.
No.
And
Tom comes in as because Tom's hotel's across street.
Yeah.
And he comes running. And says, Where's the room?
Yeah, because I didn't want to be late. So this is the electrical system now. So for this meeting, it was sort of an update meeting because we have 3 separate task groups going on, and we separated the topics, or the construction of the technical document, into equipment. Right, so this would be your power distribution equipment, your assemblies and things of that nature, systems, yeah, and then overcurrent protection. So you have your, I would say, you have protection, equipment, and then systems. And what was interesting during our discussion there was the challenge that we feel the groups may have focusing and not going outside of the scope of the PAR. Because when you're talking especially systems and safety, safety system design techniques, you can really go wild. And so we have to make sure that this is the second try. So the first time we met,
Yeah.
and we had, I think it was too many comments, and then so now we're
W.
it was, well, no, it was like there was a previous effort to create a document.
Oh yeah.
And we weren't successful. So this is a second shot at it. And I think the problem with the first one was the scope was too big and too unwieldy, right? So we had a lot of comments and discussion around that. So we're starting fresh. We've got 3 task groups. Now, to be a voting member on the group, you need to be at 2 meetings.
2 consecutive meetings.
2 consecutive meetings.
And yeah.
And then you can become a voting member, and then you can also work on the task groups as well. So if you're an engineer, if you're going to be at the electrical safety workshop next year
Tucson, Arizona.
in Tucson, Arizona, we'll meet in Tucson, Arizona, and then there will be, the task groups are meeting virtually. So if you wanted to get engaged with the task groups, I would highly suggest you come to the electrical safety workshop next year. Make sure you find out when the 1814 meeting is, and if you're not sure, email me, send me a note, because I'm the secretary.
And he's the best secretary.
Or I'm sorry, I know the secretary.
Yeah, that we're not sure if we can trust her.
But he is the best secretary that I've ever met, and I'm sure he will get back to you with regard to when we'll be meeting. And if you wanted to join a task group, we can get you on the task groups, whether it be a systems, protection, or equipment. So, and that's where the work gets done.
And this is online, so you don't have to, even if you will be able to attend ESW or PCIC next year.
You can still participate.
You can still participate and learn and share your knowledge with everyone. So,
That's right.
All you need to do is just dedicate some time, commit some time to the meeting.
Absolutely.
But you don't have to travel.
Absolutely. Then we had the guide for, now, both of these went on at the same time. This was a challenge. Did you make it to the guide for continuous thermal monitoring?
I couldn't, because I went to the 1854.
That's right, yeah. Now, so that is, who's chairing that one?
Peter Bain.
Peter Bain, great guy. Peter, if you're watching, hopefully you are. Love you, brother.
Yeah, Peter's a great guy.
He is. He's really good. And I attended a few of his meetings, and I really like the way he runs the meeting. We bring the document up, we go line by line, we either approve or we reject, and if you're familiar with NFPA development, this is a lot different.
Yeah.
It's much different than the NFPA, the way the NFPA develops documents. You're in a room with a bunch of people, and they have the document on the screen. Peter will be up there. There will be somebody from IEEE, and they'll go down through the document, and we basically have a discussion. Yeah. And sometimes, if they need if there's a disagreement in the group, they may seek consensus through some hand votes or whatever. But for the most
Sometimes
part,
we take it offline. It's like, if we can resolve it today, take it offline and just look into it more.
Yeah. But for the most part, the only real voting that occurs is when it goes out for ballot as a document.
Right.
So it's a very good interactive discussion.
I guess I would say the IEEE process is, if you're familiar with the NFPA process, it's different, but it's not as regiment
Right.
as NFPA. NFPA have deadlines. If you miss the public input deadline, which was last week, September 7th,
Yeah.
for NEC, so a couple days ago, you're done. You have to wait for 3 more years.
That's right.
With NEC, or this is the NFPA. With IEEE, things are a little bit, there's a process, but it's not as strict in terms of
Right.
you can always just submit proposals and so forth.
Yep. And then we have registration. Then in the afternoon, now again, you can't go to every one of these, especially if there's 2 that are on top of each other.
Yeah.
So you got to strategically pick whichever ones. And then I know a couple people were in one meeting and then went to the other meeting. So hopefully they're close by. So in the afternoon, we had standard for repair and rewinding of AC electric motors, right? And that's why I'm saying it's very generic.
Yeah. Anyone uses AC motors, right?
Dennis. And then you had guide and checklist for data collection for performing arc flash hazard. So this is 1584.2. So you have IEEE 1584, which tells you how to do calculations. The equations are in IEEE 1584. All of the methods to actually calculate incident energy and arc flash boundaries, right? Then you have .1, which is if you're going to do a study, what needs to be in the study when you deliver it. And .2 is collecting the data.
I think it's a checklist, that's what I call it. Like a
Yes.
checklist of,
Yes.
I guess, if I understand correctly, the intention is to help those who are not familiar with arc flash studies. It's like the checklist, like anything, like, it's a checklist of what you have to do, get all this information, not in detail, like they don't tell you how to collect the information or the details of the information, but it tells you need this.
Right.
And once you have the checklist, you get all the items on the checklist, you should be good to go.
Exactly. And one of the points of discussion for this meeting, or for the .1 group on the deliverables, and even on this one here, was the extent of what you're doing. Like, for example, you need available fault current to calculate incident energy. So the discussion is, do I include how to collect data for a short circuit calculation, or is that really part of a different document, the 3000 documents from IEEE, which used to be the color books?
Right.
So you just like in the NFPA process, you have to make sure that we don't step on each other's toes and say, look, the available fault current and your short circuit study, that's a 3000 one of the dot standards. And so go over there to figure out how to calculate fault current. I'm not going to do that in any of the 1584 documents.
Yeah, and there's no reason to rewrite a standard that's already existing. And to your point, Tom, there was a question, remember during the meeting, someone asked about safety, because it was mentioned that, hey, you have to collect your data in a safe manner, right? And the question was, does this new standard would tell me how to collect the data safely? It's like, no, it just tells you to do it in a safe manner, and then you have 7E or all the safety standards that you can consult.
Exactly. That's
So it just refers you to other standards.
Yeah, and we had this discussion on 7dB when we created the latest edition of 7dB. There was a chapter on safety.
Yeah.
And we said, you can't put safety in 70B when you have 70E that focuses on
Dedicated
safety.
standard for safety.
while-
Just like 7E talks about maintenance.
Right.
Just refers you to 70B because this is not a maintenance standard. This is just a safety standard. You have to make sure that your equipment is well maintained, and to do that, you consult or
Right.
check 70B.
Yep,
Makes sense,
makes sense. So we had a great discussion in 1584.2, and then what else did we do? We had 841 and 841.1. This is severe duty, totally enclosed squirrel cage induction motors, 0.75 kilowatt to 370. Then you had trace heating standards updates, guide for enhanced safety for MCCs. We went to that one. That was a great, Marcelo Valdez chaired that one. And that was a great discussion for a few reasons. I know a very good friend of mine who was thinking, as was probably others, that is this just about motor control centers, about racking out the MCC units from the buckets and whatnot from a safety perspective, but the enhanced safety for MCCs was a lot more than just that, right? There was a lot of other important topics, because motor control centers, one of the most dangerous pieces of equipment in a facility. And my perspective is because of everything that happens inside that bucket. You've got contactors in there. You've got a lot of different moving parts. The moment you start, when something gets more complicated, there is, in my opinion, there is safety and simplicity. And when you start making things more complicated, and a motor control center can be very complicated, you start increasing likelihood of an event occurring. So,
And again, any industrial facility has a motor control center.
exactly.
We are here at the Petroleum and Chemical Industry Conference, but it doesn't mean that we can't participate. I know, I haven't seen him this year, but one of my good friends, he works in the pulp and paper industry, and he was always at PCIC because of the motor standards, because they use it in the pulp and paper industry.
That's right. So if you're an engineer out there and you work in a facility and you have a motor or you have motors and you have to design systems with motors, great conference to come to. You'll see good papers, and you can go online. Which now that we say, if you're interested in like what happens when you go online, or like how do you know what is going to be at this event, you can go to the IEEE PCIC webpage, which is basically IEEE PCIC.com. And this is the starting page for the web for this industry. And you'll see a link for conference, all of the different standards, tutorials that are going on. If I click on conference, and we're in New Orleans or New Orleans?
It depends on your accent.
Okay.
Do you speak French or English?
Okay.
They told me it's New Orleans.
New
Local
Orleans.
People, but
New
it's,
Orleans.
In Canada, because in Canada people say New Orleans. But
Yeah.
local people say New Orleans.
So then you have registration and pricing. You have schedule at a glance. Let's look at this. Look at this beautiful
It's like
schedule.
a highlight of what happens every day. Yeah.
Yeah, so now this will start with Monday, because the formal program really, and I think Alan said it right, this is day 0, not day 1.
Yeah.
So this is day 0. And
The way it works is the actual conference starts on Monday.
Right.
But prior to Monday, so start Wednesday, there's all those standards meetings that are related to the standards meetings that are sponsored by the Petroleum and Chemical Industry Conference. Committee. Petroleum and Chemical Industry Committee sponsors those standards that Tom was discussing, the 1584, 1814, and so forth. And that's why we meet before the conference, because the conference itself, the 3 days of the conference, Monday to Wednesday, it's just too busy.
it's very packed. And that's,
all the technical papers are said.
years ago, my first, I think it was my first electrical safety workshop. And my first one, I came in, I think it was on a Sunday. And I didn't really review the schedule. Well, I reviewed this schedule that I'm showing here, and it showed similar to what I'm seeing here: Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And so I came in on Sunday thinking, all right, I'm just going to come in on Sunday, and the event's on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, I came in Sunday, and the whole hotels are packed, okay, and everybody's walking around with badges and stuff, and then you find out that, well, IEEE 1584, they met Saturday. So all of these documents meet the before the actual conference starts. So if you want to be involved, my advice is, if you've never been to one of these before, make sure you know what's happening before the actual meeting. And to find that, when you go to local conference,
The standards meeting.
you will see the technical program, and then you have the standards,
There's working group
meetings, standards WG meetings.
WG, yeah.
So if I click on that, there's your Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday. So today was a very light day, 1566.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to go to that one. I was working in my room.
Me neither.
Yep, I was recovering from last night. But no, I was working in my room, and if Palmer Hickman, if you're out there watching, I was working on some curriculum. All right.
I was partying hard last night.
I was.
I have some videos.
We had fun. We had fun.
It was always fun.
So Saturday, so this goes over what we were talking about earlier. You had 2969, 1814, 1068. So these are all of the standards. And again, if you come to these meetings and go to 2 consecutive, you're in these committee meetings for 2 consecutive meetings, then you're a voting member, period.
And I would say something, Tom. Not that I'm discouraging everyone from attending the conference, because conferences are great.
Yep.
But if you just happen to be, let's say, you have a tight schedule, you have a project that is pressing, you can just come for the weekend or for a day,
That's right.
whatever, just to attend whatever standard meeting that is of relevance or importance to you, and then can go back home. You don't have to be here the whole week. But if you're here, if you're going to make the trip out, I would highly recommend that you stay for the rest of the week to enjoy the conference,
Absolutely.
the technical papers, networking. I will be talking about the social events that we have, hospitality suites. But just in case, if you just happen to only have a 1 day or 2 days, this still doesn't mean that you can participate.
That's right. Yeah. So and it's a weekend, so and usually, like here, we're in New Orleans right now, and we're in a nice hotel. So a lot of people bring their significant others. They bring their kids, depending upon where you're at. Where are we going to be next year?
Oh,
Right there.
I don't know if you can see my shirt, but maybe you were wondering, why is he wearing an Orlando shirt?
Yep.
This is where we're going to be next year. So PCIC is going to Orlando next year, and I'm on the organizing committee. That's why I'm wearing this shirt, because this morning my job was to promote the conference. So we have a table set up right by the registration. So you come in, register for the New Orleans, like this conference, this year's conference, and then the organizing committee for next year's conference is sitting there right across from registration with a table and some goodies, and we have a video of showing the city of Orlando. I guess we don't really need to promote Orlando, because Orlando is a
Orlando,
place, yeah.
absolutely. Now it's so in. I mean, you have. I know you. Everybody knows you have Disney there and all
Yeah.
that. But is it like downtown Orlando?
No, it will be at the Hyatt Hotel, Orange County. It's
Okay.
right by the convention center. So the Hyatt, we're not at the convention center, but the Hyatt Hotel is where the conference is going to be. Is connected to the convention center.
Gotcha.
But we are going to be at the Hyatt Hotel. It's a big hotel. It should be. I'm not sure if we have. Sometimes we end up having a overflow hotel, but so far I think it should be big enough to take everyone.
Yep. Yep. And then so the other thing that you can get off of the website is the what do you call this? The conference program. So the conference program, remember, conference is your Monday through Wednesday. This will have it gives you the history of PCIC, it gives you your welcome statements, all that good stuff. All of the what's this? Petroleum.
It's the committee.
Oh, committee officers.
The
That's right.
executives of the committee.
Yep, these are all of your committee members who help put the program on together. So just like in the electrical safety workshop, because I do the book for ESW, we put all of the committee people who are involved. And look how many people are involved with putting this program on. There are a lot of people that donate their valuable time to create a forum for us all to get together and enjoy each other's company, catch up on old times, and learn something new about power systems
To your
engineering.
point, Tom, those individuals are great individuals with a lot of experience. So if you're a young professional out there, or if you're, let's say, kind of starting your career, or even not that's just gonna be a little bit over through your career, there's always an opportunity to join and learn from those people. It's just a free opportunity. Just gotta, just show up and participate, and you get to learn from the leaders of the industry.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, okay, I'm just trying to find the actual, boy, this is
No, it's a big book.
so here we go. So this was the program we were looking at earlier, and this is out on the webpage just by itself. That gives you, so this tells you each day. So Monday, you have your general program 1 and 2. So to find the details on what's going to be occurring is down below.
Yeah, so
Here's your papers,
tells
right?
you the exact papers, yeah.
Where is it at? Sunday, Monday. Here we go. All right. So now that's the general session, technical session, marine technical session. Where are the papers at,
So
Nehad?
you have to go down. Keep going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, is this it here?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. I tell you, there are a lot. Now, to your
There's like
point.
50 some papers will be presented this week.
Holy.
I think 54 or 56. I can't
Now,
remember.
and there's how many different tracks? It's 244. You're going to be meeting pretty soon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This room. It's great.
Yep. So how many tracks? You got the safety tech. No, let's look at the safety.
I think
Arc
like
flash.
6 or 7 sub.
Arc flash calculations, improving electrical safety in the next level, and then comparison of low voltage arc resistant equipment with isolation barriers, and equipment with energy reducing line side isolation for reduction of arc flash hazards. That's on Monday. Those are the 3 safety track. You got a chemical track. We're going to focus on the safety track. And what we'll do is every evening we'll talk about, we're going to be on the electrical safety track, and we'll talk about.
And we'll try to go live every day after the conference is over, after 5.
Yes.
5. So it'll be 6 Eastern, 5 Central, because we're Central time here. So maybe 5 p.m. after 5 p.m.
Yes.
We'll try to go live and just summarize what happened in the day.
Yep. Yeah, and then so we'll summarize all the different papers, but all of that information, if you go up, if you want to see what's going on here at the PCIC, IEEE PCIC, go out to that webpage, take a look at the schedule, and you'll see what you're missing. Yeah. We're going to try to give you a little update on a day-by-day little, we'll call the shots. We'll be live every evening around 5 o'clock. I'll try to put a post on
Central time, so 6 Eastern.
6 Eastern, 5 Central. That's right, because we're in Louisiana.
Yeah.
We're in Orleans. And, and so we're going to go live each day, tell you what happened, what we participated in, which may not be what you would want to participate in. So if you don't like what we're going to talk about, you need to be here. So hopefully we will see you at the electrical safety workshop. If you're watching this live and you are not here at PCIC, I hope to see you at electrical safety workshop next year in the spring, and then in the fall at PCIC. So
Orlando. So September 16th to 19th.
Yes.
Conferences. So September Monday to.
yep.
Friends are walking into the room.
Yeah, they're starting to walk in the room because there's going to be a meeting in this room. Oh, over there.
Oh, it's here. It's here, Kirk. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No. So yeah, there's a meeting in this room. We can use this room. So meeting starts at 3. But yeah.
All right.
So this is the other benefit of being present. You meet friends and great people that
Absolutely.
sometimes some of my friends I only see once a year. So it's like Kirk just walked into the room, so I'm gonna have to go and chat with him. We haven't seen each other for a year. We've been in touch, but not in person for a year. So.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, 5 o'clock, around 5-ish. Check the
6
check the
Eastern,
YouTube site.
5 Central.
Check the YouTube site. Subscribe to it if you can, and if you subscribe and hit the bell, when we go live, you'll get a notification that we're live. So, talk to you later. Stay safe, and please
Stay healthy.
stay healthy. See ya.
See you tomorrow. Thank you.